It's 62 degrees.
Presented by Zaxby's Chicken on the Bypass in Danville. Good evening, welcome to week number 10 of the Zaxby's High School Football Preview Show. Just in the nick of time, we got set up as Marty's on the line today, as Mike and myself are in studio with a wry grin across our face, because there was a point where we didn't know. We knew we weren't going to be late for the game, but I'm not sure we were confident we were going to make it here in time, at least for the start of the show. And we were caught in traffic on I-75, and lo and behold, Mike, in his infinite northern Kentucky wisdom, took us down the Buttermilk Parkway, and voila, we are at Beechwood and set up in time for tonight's high school football preview show. First time Danville has ever traveled to Beechwood to play a game. They've played 3 other times head-to-head. Danville and Beechwood have, twice in the state championship, once in Danville, but never here in Fort Mitchell. And was talking with someone earlier today who said they've never been to Beechwood either. Very nice, isn't it? Very, very nice school and facilities they have here.
Beautiful complex, beautiful from the school buildings to the athletic facilities around us here. Like so many places are in these suburban areas, it's squeezed into a tight little area, but they've made the most of the space they have and have a beautiful complex here and a beautiful setting for Friday night games.
They are about to, Mike, look like they're going to run out of room on the side of their athletic building for state championship banners, and that's just for football. On the side of the high school, they have the band state championship banners. They have 2 massive national blue ribbon school banners for Beechwood High and Beechwood Elementary schools. And so this is about as nice as you can get, really, for like a public independent school, right? Not a private school. This is taxpayer funded here, and this is as good as it gets facility-wise.
It really is, and I know they're proud of this district and of what they have here, not just athletically. I mean, the football program is a trademark for them.
Yeah.
They're very strong academically. They're strong in several other sports too. The baseball team has played really well, particularly over the last few seasons. Track and field and cross country. I know they had a high finish in the cross country meet this week. They're like I said, successful academically. They're successful at seemingly everything they're into.
Yeah. So I'd forgotten Danville and Beechwood played in the first round of the state tournament like 4 years ago, right, in baseball.
And didn't they
at UK? And then they played in the All-A tournament.
Played in the All-A semi
at EKU the next year.
That 1-0 game,
yes.
a couple of years ago at Eastern.
So
yes.
That's right. I've forgotten about that. So
yes.
Here we are at Beechwood for the Zaxby's High School Football Preview Show. We are live on WHIR, WHBN. Also going to be part of the show at HTR Joe on Twitter. We'd love to have you on that way as well. Of course, Zaxby's is the title sponsor of the Zaxby's High School Football Preview Show. Radio Rick went by there earlier today. I got me a kickin' chicken finger sandwich today. That's the one that comes in the Texas toast and has the not nuclear, but tongue torch sauce on it, and it's like a buffalo chicken sandwich, basically, with chicken tenders. And that's what I got today.
And you can broadcast after that?
Oh, I love spicy food.
I got you.
Spicy food is hit or miss for people. You either love it or you hate it. There's no fence post straddling when it comes to spicy food, and I am fully on the side of the fence for spicy food.
Bring in the heat.
So bring in the heat, yeah. We've got 4 games tonight on the high school football preview show to talk about and discuss. First one, of course, is where we're at tonight. Beechwood, as Danville travels to Beechwood. Mike, did you ever think you'd see a first-round Danville-Beechwood game ever in your life?
It is such a shock to the system, I think, for Danville, probably for Beechwood, and for people who follow football around the state at large, to see these 2 teams who have, 27, 28 titles between them.
Beechwood's got 17, Danville's got 11, so 28. Yep.
To be playing in a first-round game. I mean, we recognize that these are not normal times at Danville, but yeah, for a first-round game to be here in a matchup that you would usually see not sooner than the state semis.
Yeah, Danville, Beechwood, LaRue County, and Mercer County. Two teams meeting there in Harrodsburg tonight. We'll have that game on WHBN. E-Town is at Garrett County. Golden Lions have themselves a home playoff game for the first time since 2014. And we'll have that game on our sister station, Z105. And then Casey County is at Louisville Central tonight as well, which is going to be a really tough game. Central, every year, they play that really tough schedule. They're in Louisville, and basically every other Louisville school is 6A. So they play Louisville schools that are 6A. They get beat in close margins by these schools, and people think, oh no, Louisville Central, look at the record, it's 5-5, but then you see who they lost to, how they lost. They only lost to Cal by 7. I know this is another Central team that can make a deep run in the playoffs again, and Casey County, unfortunately, has to play them tonight at Louisville Central.
Yeah, nobody's fooled by Central's record anymore, and this is about the third or fourth time that Casey has gotten that draw.
Yeah, so we'll see how that one goes tonight. Got a lot to talk about tonight. Elizabethtown at Garrett County is actually where I'm going to start off. I think that's the best game tonight for area teams, so we're starting off there. We have the high school fantasy football draft. We'll have Danville Beechwood talk as well if we have some time afterwards to talk about that. But before we hop into it, we got to at least, talk a little bit about what has been a very sad week for a lot of us in the media, in high school sports, with the passing of Marty Warren. And Mike, I know you work with Marty for how many years? I mean, Marty was at the paper for 40 years. You weren't there for all 40,
yeah.
but I mean, you
more
were
than
there
30.
Yeah, 30 plus years.
Yeah.
I got to work with Marty in a specific radio setting. I felt like my right-hand man, right? Like anytime I was calling a game, all I have to do was call Marty. Didn't matter what the game was. Now, obviously, he was alongside me for every Danville broadcast, but alongside football, you had basketball. We called Campbellsville University Harrodsburg games together when we did CU Harrodsburg basketball. We called Center College football games together, baseball, softball. If it was youth sports related, Marty wanted to be involved in it in some way, in some fashion. He's like, look, it's better than sitting at home, right? So I'm going to come out and I want to be involved in this. And, to be able to work alongside a guy like that. And me and Marty I actually counted up. I know for a fact we called 75 football games together. That's just football, right? That's not counting the other sports that we called. So it's 100-plus games I call with Marty easily. And being able to see the highs and the lows of the games you call, right? The 2016 state championship game was my first year calling. Danville was 2016, and, of course, Danville lost that state championship game to Cal. So not necessarily a low per se, but obviously you make the state championship game, they lose. You never know when you're going to make it back. Yeah. Then the next year being in a different booth at UK in the state championship game, experiencing the highs, being able to call the state championship game with Marty that year. The COVID season, which was so weird. I know LEX 18 did a story on Marty yesterday, and there's a picture of me and Marty wearing face masks in that news story they did. I still vividly remember that game. It was at Perry County Central. Danville played Hazard that night, the first ever COVID game. We were wearing face masks for it and taking these long road trips on Friday night. I spent so much time with Marty during the fall on Friday nights, driving to and from places. And aside from myself, who I've been on like every Zaxby show, right, because I host the show. But Marty has probably been, out of all the Zaxby shows I hosted, either the second most featured person with me.
Yeah, and he always knew what was going on the other teams, even when he wasn't going to other teams' games. When he was, during that period when he was doing exclusively Danville games, he was still keeping up with Boyle County. He was still keeping up with Garrett County, with the other teams.
Yeah, and you almost felt like Marty was almost invincible. Really, I felt like Marty was invincible. Like, there were so many times where I felt like, well, he's sick, he's not going to be able to make it back, and then he would get better, and he would come back, and he was so happy. He took last year off because he just had health issues, right? So he helped me from 2016 to 2021, and then took the 2022 season off. And I remember seeing him earlier this summer in like May or June, and he looked so much better. He was getting around. And so I asked Marty at that point about July or August, I said, hey, do you want to come back and help me out? Like, maybe don't do color, don't have that much on you, just do stats, just come back out to the games, you can be involved. And he said, I would love to. And he was so excited to get back for this 2023 season. And he actually was with us for 5 games, the Knox Central game. That was his last game this year. And I tell you what, he was a great guy, great friend, and again, got to know Marty so well from calling games with him and was just very sad, very, very sad to hear the news about Marty earlier this week.
It's a sad day for so many of us. And the terrible thing about cancer and trying to recover from it is you're only cancer-free until you're not. And for some people, that's for the rest of their lives, and for other people, unfortunately, it's not. And it came back on him, and it struck him hard here in these last few months. And he was a friend to so many people in this area. On Friday nights when we were writing for the paper, obviously we were typically in different places. We would travel a lot to later round games together, later rounds of the playoffs when we had fewer teams to cover, and those were some of your longer road trips, so those were good times. A photographer we used to have, Edwin Finley, that worked with us for a while, would travel with us, and we had some tremendous times. We would go to basketball games at regional tournaments together. He and I would go to the Sweet 16 together, whether we had somebody to cover or not. We would go to the Sweet 16 together, sometimes staying in the hotels, sometimes riding back and forth, and had a lot of great conversations. We even took a couple of road trips together to watch Major League games in Chicago, and another trip to Cleveland and Pittsburgh. He was as good a friend as I've made in the 33 years that I've been in Danville. And it's a tremendous loss for all of us, though. I mean, it's easy to be selfish about it and say it's a loss for us, and it is. But it's a tremendous loss for this whole community, because everything Marty did, whether it was radio work, whether it was newspaper work, whether it was working for the rec department, and him and he and John Kokenauer were stalwarts at that rec department for so many years. Everything he did was with the kids in mind. It was always about the student athletes. It was about showcasing them on the radio or in print. It was about helping the young kids that are playing those ball games, in the Jenny Rogers gym or at Millennium Park on a Tuesday night. It was always for the right reasons, and he loved being around the kids, and he loved being around the games.
Yeah, and we loved being around Marty too. And like Mike said, a tremendous loss that was earlier this week. I got a lot of great Marty stories, but there have been 2 times in my broadcasting career that I have been unable to talk because I was laughing so hard during a game. One of them happened this year, and I'm not going to talk about that right now. But the other one happened, this was probably the 2018 season. Danville was at LCA, and my buddy Mr. Packett was in the booth. He lives in Lexington, so he just happened to come and watch the game. Now, in LCA, they have 2 separate sides, right? They have, like, the home visitors press box, or the home press box, and the visitors press box. So we're in the visitors press box. And Danville scored a touchdown, and the kicker at that time, again, I think it was 2018, maybe 2019, kicks the extra point, and he kicks it, and it goes through the center's legs. He kicks a low-line drive, and the center is still, like, down from where he snapped the ball, and the ball came off the kicker's foot, and it was a line drive in between right through his legs.
Yikes.
And Mr. Packett looked at me and made this face like, I've never seen anything quite like that before.
Yeah.
And I looked at Mr. Packett, and I looked over at Marty, and Marty was just like the same thing, like, I'm not sure what that was, but how do you describe what just happened? And so being the play-by-play guy, I say the kicker missed the extra point but kicked it right through the center's legs. And that's when I looked at Mr. Packett, and he made that face, and I couldn't stop laughing. And I remember going back and listening to the broadcast, and I tried to play it off like I was coughing, but I couldn't. Like, I'd never seen anything quite like this before. And Marty loved that story, and we would talk about it afterwards, and Marty be like, Joe called it just like he saw it. It went through the center's legs, and by golly, he called it that way. And it was just like, that's one of 2 times that I've ever been like so like just cracking up. I couldn't say anything while I'm calling a game. And Marty was like, it was like one of his favorite memories, I feel like. Like Marty had never seen it either, so it was one that stuck in his head. All the games he had been to, he covered, he called. He'd never seen a kicker kick an extra point through the center's legs. And that's what happened. And Marty just like loved it. Like, Joe, by golly, you called it like you saw it.
Absolutely. Marty had a ton of great stories too, and I loved hearing all of them.
Yeah.
And like all of us who like to tell stories, there were some greatest hits, and I can still hear in my head, the description of one of the things he did for several years. He was a high school baseball umpire.
Yes.
And the description of the day he threw out David Kamek.
He threw David Kamek out.
When David Kamek was coaching at Danville.
He gave him the choke sign to Marty.
Gave him the choke sign, and Marty gave him the gate immediately, and got a lot of miles off that story for a lot of years, and even a lot of years later got Coach Kamek to laugh at it too after a few years had gone by. But he had tremendous stories. He loved to laugh. He loved life. Like I said, he just loved being around athletics. And for Marty, and one of the great things you can say about it too is in situations like this, high school football games, and again, even the little league games, he just loved being around the sports. It didn't matter that it wasn't a UK Tennessee game or some professional game or something big. I mean, he enjoyed watching those things too, but it didn't matter. I mean, he loved, this was as big time as those things were to him.
Yeah. So with that said, I have put together kind of a montage of some of, I don't even know if they're the best Marty moments, because there'd be no way to encapsulate the entire career of Marty on radio, for the 100. It was more than 75 games he called. It was just with me. He called 75 games. He was on the air long before I took over in 2016.
Yeah, he worked with Steve Bertram.
Yeah, worked with Steve. He worked with Charlie when Charlie did play-by-play. Mm-hmm. So the amount of games he covered on radio was just exponential. But I was able to go back and put together a montage of some of the best Marty Warren moments from at least 2016 on, from where I called games with him. So I've got that set up. So we'll play that coming up right now, and then we'll take a commercial break right after that, roll into the commercial break. You're listening to Zaxby's High School Football Preview Show on 103.9 FM WHIR, 99.5 FM WHBN, and HometownLive.net. Good evening, everyone. Joe Mathis alongside Tim Holland, and we are so glad as well to have Marty Warren back on stats for this 2023 season. Good evening, everyone. High atop Admiral Stadium, Joe Mathis alongside Tim Holland with Marty Warren on stats. Good evening, everyone. Joe Mathis alongside Tim Holland. Marty Warren on stats tonight.
Danville scoring drive, 87 yards, 9 plays. Took 3:22 off the clock. They lead Mayfield 7-0, 8:38 to play first quarter. I think the one thing they really need to concentrate on is the special teams. The special teams in the past 2 or 3 weeks have been their little bugaboo.
Yes.
Teams have gotten great yardage out of Danville right off the bat. Danville scoring drive, 1 play, 63 yards, took 9 seconds off the clock, and they lead 7-0.
Jalen Brashear's taking it in for a touchdown.
The big man was flat rolling.
And Danville strikes back.
What a way to end.
Stiff-armed a white jersey at the goal line.
Oh, large enough to drive a truck through on that one. Did a nice job. Put 2 hands over the football. You noticed that. And he wasn't about to be denied. It can come down with it at the same time. It goes to the offense. It was just a matter of whether he was going to stay in bounds or be out of the back of the end zone. Nice play by Jaleel Warren. A perfect throw by Zach Thornton.
We know UK plays at 4.
I'm out of breath, too.
Yeah. What happens when you run up those steps? They get bigger. The stands get bigger and bigger every time you go up them, I think. It's like they add a couple of steps.
There's still 47 of them.
Do you count them?
I count them.
All right, good. It is 48-7 ads.
Who would have thunk it? A gutsy call, but one that needed to be made if it's going to keep this lead. That's the start that you were looking for, Joe. They took it right down the field right after getting the onside kick.
Our thanks to Marty Warren on Color and Stats all season long. Rest in peace, Marty Warren. We already miss you, buddy.
Here at Zaxby's, we have perfectly paired all of our sauces to go with our hand-breaded chicken fingers. Seriously, it's science. Each flavor profile is in perfect harmony with each other. The crisp, zesty notes of honey mustard, the full, rounded, bold flavor of buffalo garlic blaze, the elegant, spicy smoke of Tug Torch, all the perfect pair to our famous chicken fingers. Test them out for yourself and grab some extra napkins. Select one from our 12 sauce options. There's endless sauce abilities, only at Zaxby's.
Hi folks, Mike Gay here, HR Manager with Essity. At Essity, we want to wish all of our local high schools good luck during this season. We're proud to sponsor Mercer County, Bergen, Boyle County, Danville, and Garrett County. All of these schools will produce our future employees, and we're rooting for you all this season. So go Ads, go Rebels, go Titans, go Bulldogs, and go Golden Lions. So thanks again from Essity in Harrodsburg and Danville for representing our communities in a great way.
Great! See, we're practically sitting on the field. If you could sit here.
Your food and drinks will be right over.
Oh, yes! For the same price as way up here. Great seats. Right up here with a blimp. Why wouldn't you? It's the same with auto insurance. With discounts up to 40%, it's possible to get the personal service of a State Farm agent for the same or less than those other guys.
See your State Farm agent in Harrodsburg, David Hopewell, and Randy Couch.
Hi, this is Karen, and at ADA Heating and Air, we offer free estimates on replacements. We install American Standard heating and air conditioning equipment. Our employees do not work on commission, so you don't pay for unnecessary repairs. We offer the best pricing around. On average, we can save you 15%. We offer same or next day service. Financing is available on our website at adaheatingandair.com. Call ADA today for all your HVAC needs at 859-519-6382. ADA is on the way.
Hi, this is Matt Jones from Kentucky Sports Radio. You're listening to Central Kentucky's only high school football tailgating show, the High School Football Preview Show with Joe Mathis on the Hometown Radio Network.
Tim Holland's on his way. Boy, you talk about dedication. Is Tim Holland in a game, I mean, let's be honest. Backs against the wall, right? Like, it would be an upset of the most epic proportions in the history of Kentucky high school football if Danville were to win, right? I mean, we understand what they're facing here tonight.
It's a tough draw, yeah.
It's a tough draw.
To say the least.
The best way to put it. And Tim Holland was running behind at work, and Tim said, you know what, Joe, I can't ride with you. I'm going to have to drive up separately. So Tim, driving up separately by himself to come do this game tonight, probably more so because he gave me his word he would be here more than the fact that maybe 2 hours to come to this game. That's a long haul. That's a lot of dedication. So Tim will be here
He's a pro.
in a little bit. Yeah, we appreciate Tim.
And he may still beat the team here from what we understand.
Yeah, the team left, Danville left at 4:30 this afternoon. And as of 5:30, they were just in Lexington, right? Mm-hmm. And that's not counting the traffic they're going to inevitably run into on I-75 when they get around the Cincinnati area, which is what we ran into, and luckily took a back road to get here in a reasonable amount of time to get set up within 5 minutes to get on the air. So 7:30 is the scheduled kickoff for this game, and we hope Danville makes it by kickoff.
Yes, that is in question. The good news is the rush hour traffic probably will get better before they get here.
That's a good point, yeah.
So,
yeah. Hey, let's talk about Garrett County and Elizabethtown. This Garrett County team hosting E-Town in the first round of the state football tournament, courtesy of Garrett County getting the 2 seed in Class 3A District 4. Meanwhile, E-Town, the 3 seed in Class 3A District 3. That Class 3A District 3 is one of the tougher districts in 3A. When you look at the top, it's really top-heavy. Not really good teams at the bottom, but very top-heavy in Christian Academy of Louisville and Louisville Central. And so Cal at home tonight taking on Marion County, who finishes the 4 seed in that Mercer-Garrett district. And then you got Louisville Central taking on Casey County, who finished as the 3 seed in that district. These two teams, Garrett County and E-Town, have only met up twice in their history of their two schools. It was back-to-back years, 2003 and 2004. Mike, do you remember any of those games, 03, 04?
I did one of those games. I did the one in E-Town. It was at the former stadium they played at. They have a nicer, newer facility now. That stadium was at a middle school at the time, and I think Garrett lost that game, the one that was in E-Town.
Garrett actually lost both games, 03 and 04, so those were both second-round playoff games. So Garrett County, Steve Stonebreaker, their head coach at that point, goes 9-2 through their first 11 games, including that first-round playoff game, and then both years had to play Elizabethtown in the second round of the playoffs. Both years lost to Elizabethtown in the second round of the playoffs, and so those 2 years, Garrett County goes 18-6 combined in 03 and 04, but lose in the second round of the playoffs to, as you mentioned, a really good Elizabethtown team. They're now led by head coach Alfredo Silva, who was an interim head coach this year. And it's an interesting story. So here's what happened this year at E-Town. They were led, of course, by longtime head coach Mark Brown. He was there forever. Mark Brown was. And he stepped down in 2020. Mark Brown's son, Ross Brown, who was the offensive coordinator since 2014, takes over as the head coach at E-Town when his dad steps down in 2020. So Ross Brown's first year as the head coach is that 2020 COVID year. They go 12-1. They make the state championship. They lose to Ashland Blazer in the state title game, in that 3A state title game. Ashland Blazer went 11-0 that year. E-Town went 12-1. Remember that COVID year, games were just canceled on a whim, so there's no telling how many games teams would play.
Right.
So E-Town actually won more games than Blazer did, but Blazer won the championship in a perfect 11-0 record. So here's this guy, young, dynamic guy, Ross Brown, a guy who looks like he's going to be a star coach in the making, makes the state championship game his first year. They take a little bit of a step back in 2021. I'm sure they were hurt by graduation. In 2022 last season, back to an 8-win season. They go 8-4. They lose second round, but still 8 wins. Pretty good year. Well, in June of this year, So like 5 months ago, whenever it was, in June of this year, Ross Brown resigns at E-Town, where his dad was the head coach and where he has taken over for his dad. And he takes an assistant coaching job at DeSales, Louisville DeSales. Now, DeSales has had a pretty good team. They were horrible last year. They were 0-10. They were awful last year. Now, remember when Cal and DeSales were in the same district as Mercer County, the Titans, and that was the intra-district format in the playoffs, so Mercer County every year had to play Cal in the second round and almost never could get by them. But that's not the DeSales we saw last year. They were 0-10. They were awful. But Ross Brown says, you know what? He said, first of all, he resigned family reasons, but he wanted to get somewhere, I think, where he could just, like, help build a program back up. And it basically, he's done that. I mean, they're 8-2 this year, right? But fact of the matter is, he left late in the year. It's June, and now E-Town doesn't have a head football coach, and Ross Brown's gone, and oh, no, who are we going to name head football coach? Well, that's where Alfredo Silva steps in. He was named the interim under the stipulation that they would open the job back up in January for everybody else to be able to apply for the E-Town head coaching job. And so that's how Alfredo Silva, who was an assistant under Ross Brown, gets the head coaching job there at E-Town. Guy who started his coaching career in California back in 2004, moved to Kentucky, was actually an assistant in LaRue County beginning in 2014, then took over as an assistant at E-Town in 2000, maybe 2020 or something now. No, sorry, 2022. Then a year later, he was the interim head coach.
Might have also been a middle infielder for the White Sox, if I remember.
Alfredo Silva could be, yes. Got that middle infielder name for the Chicago White Sox. Is that back in the 70s and 80s, Mike?
Probably, yeah.
Probably so, yeah. So let's talk about E-Town. It's an interesting story because they started off the year 0-5. They've gone 3-2 since in their last 5 weeks, but a really rough start to the season. And offensively, they've had a ton of hiccups. Their first 4 games of the year, they scored more than 3 touchdowns only 1 time. Then in their 2 losses since then, the last 5 games are 3-2. In those 2 losses, they've scored only 7 points. And in one of their 3 wins, they scored only 15 points. So they've had a lot of trouble getting their offense in the end zone. And it's really been a lack of a running game that's killed them this year, which was supposed to be one of their strong points coming into this season. You look at last year and what Ross Brown left. When he left, they had Trey Durbin and Braden Dean. Durbin ran for 1,130 yards and 13 touchdowns last year, nearly 100 yards a game. And then you have Dean, who carried it nearly 70 times last year, right? So running game should be strong. Now you look forward to this year. Durbin, who averaged nearly 100 a game, is averaging 21 a game on the ground this year. Dean, who carried it nearly 70 times last season, hasn't even carried it 30 times this year. They were a 75-25 run-pass team last year. They returned their 2 best running backs, but now they're a 55-45 pass-run team. They're passing it 30% more than they did last year, despite getting their running backs back this year, the 2 guys that were their best players that didn't graduate. So it's been a complete change in offense, first of all. Remember, they only changed in June the head coach. So it's a new coach, probably trying to do some new things. They haven't had a whole lot of time. They got a new coach in June. Now here's a new guy trying to do new things, and it hasn't really worked out for them really well offensively so far.
That's either a sea change in coaching philosophy or your offensive line was gutted by graduation.
Yes, one or 2. Yes, or maybe both.
Both could be true.
Now, you'd think things would get better for them offensively as the year goes on, right? The more you're familiar, if it is a coaching issue, the more plays you run, things maybe get better as you go throughout the rest of the season. But it really hasn't. In a 15-12 win over LaRue County earlier this year, they ran for only 64 yards. In a win over Seneca, they ran for only 85 yards. They have basically what appears to be changed their entire offense up. It looks like it's not working very well. I would think that pays major dividends for Garrett County's defense tonight going against an Elizabethtown team who has, they try to have an offensive identity, but it's not working out for them very well throwing the ball around as much as they do.
Defense is what Garrett County's hung their hat on this season, and when they've been successful, it's been because of a good, strong defense. They're still trying to build an offense and still trying to build some players into that offense. who will be able to help them down the road. But they have won with defense, and they'll win with defense if they win tonight.
Let's talk about the E-Town defense. This is a team that's really been hit hard by the run this year, which, again, seems like it would play in Garrett County's favor, especially when you look at the yardage split. So let's talk about it. They give up an average of 217 yards a game on the ground, plus another 150 through the air. So you're looking at about 370 total yards of offense that E-Town averages giving up. Most of that is on the ground. They've given up 300-plus in 3 games this year, 200-plus in 2 other games this year. So this seems like a perfect fit. Garrett County's not nearly as run heavy as we've seen in the past. They can throw it around with Justin Parsons. Hayden Elliman, I think, is a phenomenal wide receiver too. But still, their bread and butter is the ground game. I think this is like, you look at the stats and the yardage splits, Garrett County would say, look, if we can get 217 on the ground and 150 through the air offensively, we're feeling really good about ourselves tonight against E-Town.
Yeah, they should be in the ball game if they can get near those totals.
Yeah, so if you look at what happens if and when Garrett County wins, we'll just say they do win for the sake of this argument, because that's an area team that we're covering. Garrett County would play the winner of Christian Academy of Louisville and Marion County. That is obviously going to be Christian Academy of Louisville. I think we can say that with confidence. So Garrett County, as the 2 seed, would go on the road next week to Cal, the 1 seed in the district. Meanwhile, again, you look at Mercer County and LaRue County tonight, assuming the Titans win, they would be at home versus that Louisville Central team we talked about earlier in the show. That is a very talented team.
And that's going to be as good a team as Mercer County will have played all year.
Yes.
If and when Central comes in there. And if Garrett County can advance to a game against Christian Academy, that's a tough draw too.
Yeah.
Christian Academy's been ranked number 1 in the class in the media poll all season long, I believe. And they're the real deal. They're a solid football program. They've won championships, contended for championships for several years now, and they're not going anywhere in the next few years in 3A football.
E-Town and Garrett County, 7:30 kickoff tonight. We'll have it on Z105. We'll step aside, come back, give you the high school fantasy football trap presented by Danville Family Dentistry. It's all coming up next on the High School Football Preview Show, live from Beechwood on 103.9 FM WHIR, 99.5 FM WHBN, and HometownLive.net.
Here at Zaxby's, we have perfectly paired all of our sauces to go with our hand-breaded chicken fingers. Seriously, it's science. Each flavor profile is in perfect harmony with each other. The crisp, zesty notes of honey mustard, the full, rounded, bold flavor of buffalo garlic blaze, the elegant, spicy smoke of Tug Torch, all the perfect pair to our famous chicken fingers. Test them out for yourself and grab some extra napkins. Select one from our 12 sauce options. There's endless sauce abilities, only at Zaxby's.
Hi, I'm Jessica Johnson with Kentucky Farm Bureau. As your local agent, proud to serve Boyle and Danville community and help you get the right protection for your home, auto, life, and business. Kentucky Farm Bureau has provided folks in the Bluegrass with quality insurance and dependable service since 1943. I'd love the opportunity to earn your business. For a free quote, give me a call at 859-583-4920 or stop by our office in Danville on the bypass and ask for Jess. I'm big on commitment.
Need a change of scenery? Check out Kentucky State Parks. With 45 parks to choose from, there are limitless options. Each park has its own unique features, landscape and resorts, restaurants, campgrounds, and some of the best golf courses around. Pick one that fits your lifestyle and your family. Explore Kentucky Parks. Enjoy fun outdoor adventure without the long lines of many destinations. Book now at parks.ky.gov.
Hi folks, Mike Gay here. Are you frustrated with your current job? Want to get that promotion but you don't have a college degree? Then go to Essity.com. We're hiring 25 new machine operators starting at $19.38 an hour. Is work-life balance important to you? Well, we have 12-hour shifts. You can work 90 nights, work 90 days, and then you're off 180 days during the year. That's with no required OT. Essity, ESSITY.com.
Saturday night. The Cats head south to put a muzzle on some growling hounds. Let's go! Mississippi State Bulldogs and your Kentucky Wildcats.
The pregame show starts this Saturday evening at 5:30 with kickoff at 7:30.
It's all on your home for the Cats and the hits. WRNZ FM Z105. Go Cats!
Good evening. Welcome to week number 10 of the Danville Family Dentistry High School Fantasy Football Draft. It is championship week here on the Fantasy Draft, and so glad to have one person in studio, which is Rick. Good evening, Rick. How are you?
Good evening, Joe.
I appreciate you being here. Boy, what a time this has been getting this hooked up. Mr. Packett's on the telephone. Mr. Packett, how are you doing?
I'm good.
Yeah, appreciate you being on here.
It sounds.
Yeah, and Matt's also on the phone, which is not on the same phone that Mr. Packett's on. Matt, how are you doing today?
I'm good, Joe. Ready for the playoffs.
Yeah, ready for the playoffs. Derek is not here, and nobody knew Derek was not coming until about 30 minutes ago. And nobody can get a hold of Derek.
Must be in the beach.
He hasn't responded.
He just said, I can't make it in, and that was it. So now here we are. Derek's on bye anyway, so the fact of the matter is, he doesn't really have to be here anyway. But with Derek not being here, and then Matt couldn't make it in, and the phone lines, we couldn't have two people on the same line, so we've got it all worked out now. And let's go back to last week, okay? That sound good with everybody?
Okay.
All right. Here we go. Again, Mr. Packett needed to win, and I needed to win to stay one game ahead of Mr. Packett. Vice versa, if I won and Packett lost, I moved 2 games up, and the championship is clinched by me with a week left. If I lost and Mr. Packett won, then we'd be tied going into the final week. So kind of laying out the groundwork there. Last week, Mr. Packett was not on the air. He had to work. So Matt picked for him and felt pretty confident with the team that he picked. Isn't that right, Matt?
Oh, yeah. Great team.
Yeah, I feel great about it. So let's start off with Mr. Packett versus Radio Rick. Rick, who do you want to start with?
Start with me. Get it over with.
Start off with you and get it over with. Rick was led by Bubba Trumbo, who had 4 catches for 168 yards and a pair of scores. Off the bat with a 30.8 score for Bubba Trumbo for his highest scoring player. Right behind him, Denham Griffith, who had a monster game for Mercer County. 140 rushing yards and a pair of scores. 29.6 for Denham Griffith. So far, so good. You're looking at 60 points or so from 2 players. More than 60 points. His quarterback, Sawyer Horton, got him 16.5. His flex, Cameron Bottoms, got him 14.9. You got 9.2 from Braden Bothman. You add it all up. 7 from your defense, 6 from your kicker. Liam Potts, you said you were going to take him. We didn't know who was going to be kicking. It was Liam Potts who kicked 6 extra points. 117.9.
Whoa.
For Radio
Well done,
Rick.
Richard.
Way to go to Rick, and Mr. Packett cannot be feeling good about that because he's got to score more than 117.9. Do you feel like Matt, without even knowing who he picked for you, do you feel like he did a good job for you? Do you feel like if anybody picked for you, Matt could do better than 117.9?
Well, Matt's had a rough season, but I trust Matt. He's a stand-up, good guy, wonderful person.
Yes.
I knew he would do the best for me, and I got faith in him.
He's got faith in Matt picking for him. Stand-up, wonderful guy. So how did the stand-up, wonderful guy do for Mr. Packett? Thaddeus Mays, 181 passing yards, 2 touchdowns, 157 rushing yards and 2 touchdowns. Ooh. How's 44.7 sound right off the bat for you, Mr. Packett?
Yeah, I like that. I'll take some more of it.
You like that a lot. Bryce Bob Floyd, who took 2 kickoff returns back for a touchdown. 25.3 for Bob Floyd. 22.3 for Nemo Wilson, the Anderson County running back. 19 for Seth Horton. 18 for Cameron Peak. -3 from his defense, but that doesn't matter. How's 137.3 in the most clutch of performances that we've seen in quite some time in fantasy football history? Matt does it for Mr. Packett to at least, bare minimum, keep him 1 game back going into championship weekend. Rick shakes his head in disgust. And Mr. Packett, Matt says you're welcome.
Thank you, Matthew.
Yeah, thank you, Matthew. So, Mr. Packett now at this point, rooting for me to lose, or if I do win, to not score very many points. So it's me versus Team Harrisburg Tourism. Who you want to start off with?
Tourism.
Tourism, all right. Quisenberry. That's all there is to it. One word, Quisenberry. We know who we're talking about. 30-plus points every game. 33.1 last Friday to start off Derek. 33.1. 25.2 from Evan Stevens. 18.6 from Andrew Price. The big 3 do him well, and Derek is cruising. And then you get to his final 5 players we haven't gone over, who scored him a combined 6.1 points from 5 players. 83 points for Derek. And the biggest week of the year, Mr. Packett needed his former buddy, and his former buddy didn't come through for him.
Yeah, I about expected that from him. as he's done this morning, he did the same last week. He didn't come through for us.
He didn't come through for you, Mr. Packett. All I need is more than 83, and I'm up one game going into the final week. I had 30 from Avery Bodner, 24.5 from Malachi Simmons, 23.1 from Hayden Elliman, 14.7 from Sage Dawson, 9 from my defense, 112.8 when you add up everybody. So I topple Derek, and it comes down to this. I'm 6-1. Mr. Packett is 5-2. And as the way the schedule usually works, the top two teams face off against each other in the final week of the season. So it'll be Mr. Packett versus me. Total points, I'm up 44.7 on Mr. Packett. So if he wins, he's got to outscore me by about 45 points. It can be done. It is a tall task, but who knows what happens in games. It can be done. Mr. Packett versus myself in this final week for the championship. Radio Rick versus Team Center Communications. Derek is on bye this week. Are all interested parties ready for a championship? Rick, are you ready?
I'm ready.
Matt, are you ready?
Let's do it.
Let's do it, says Matt. Mr. Packett, are you ready?
Let's do it.
Let's do it. I'm ready as well. The Danville Family Dentistry High School Fantasy Football Draft. How do we do it this time? Mr. Packett led the week in scoring, but it was Matt who picked it for him. So, Rick, who do you think?
Give it to him. Give it to
No,
him.
they're both giving it to each other. Matt, you're the one who picked the team.
Well, let them both do it.
Okay, both do it at the same time. On the count of 3, you all do it at the same time. The Danville Family Dentistry High School Fantasy Football Draft is brought to you by 1, 2, 3.
Danville Family Dentistry. They're all about you.
All about you.
Danville Family Dentistry, we're all about you.
Hi, I'm Dr. Lisa Neal at Danville Family Dentistry. We can all agree life is busy and our days are full. Don't let getting a dental appointment be part of the stress. Call us at 236-2488 and let us help keep your smile beautiful and healthy. We are open 5 days a week to accommodate your schedule. At Danville Family Dentistry, we are all about you. We are located at 132 North 2nd Street. Again, that's Danville Family Dentistry, 236-2488.
Let's Packett and myself battle for a championship. We're in the middle. Radio Rick starts off number 1. I'll go 2. Packett will go 3. Matt will go 4 on championship weekend. Radio Rick, pick 1. By the way, Boyle County played yesterday. This was recorded yesterday. We have to say that because people are going to say, well, of course, they picked such and such. He had 500 yards against Whitley County. We didn't know that prior to recording this. Rick, who you going with?
Tavy.
Quisenberry goes 1-1 overall. He's going 1-1. It goes to me. How about 1-2? Avery Bodner, who didn't steer me wrong last week. I just feel like as long as my players come out and do what they should do, Mr. Packett can't outscore me by 45. I'm not saying it's guaranteed. You know, it's not up to me. I'm just picking the players. I just think like as long as the players come out and just do what they usually do, I'm feeling comfortable. But you have these 45-point performances you get like you got from Thaddeus Mays last week. At that point, who knows? Mr. Packett, you're up with 1 pick.
Yep, I'm taking Thaddeus Mays.
Got to go Thaddeus Mays. It's a pretty good pick. I mean, he just put up 45 last week, and you're behind me by 45 points. See if Thaddeus can do it again. Matt, back-to-back. Who you got?
Sage Dawson.
Sage Dawson, QB1.
And give me
Denham Griffith. Eels off the board. Mr. Packett grunts. That was a grunt and a half if I've ever heard one. Packett, you're back up with 1 pick.
Yep, I'm taking Maury Brown.
Maury Brown. He'll go in wide receiver 1
really
spot.
My thinking here is that only 2 of these teams are favored. The other team should get beat like a snare drum. So I need to get people from those 2 teams who are going to be more successful.
I understand. Here's the problem with Maury. I mean, it's not a Maury problem. It's there's too many playmakers on the team problem. He's averaged 2 touches a game the last 2 games. So we'll see how many touches Maury gets last night. Not tonight, but last night. Recorded prior to the game, but Maury Brown is off the board. All right, goes to me. I'm going to take Malachi Simmons. Garrett County running back going against E-Town. Give me Malachi. They're playing at home. Garrett's clinched that home playoff game. Malachi, Eels off the board. Radio Rick. Not 1 pick. Radio Rick, 2 picks.
All right, I'll take him.
You take him? Do you want to use him now or you want to hold him?
No, I'll go ahead and take him.
All right.
I will go with Evan Stevens.
Evan Stevens?
Evan Stevens.
Who is Casey playing?
Casey is playing Central.
Oh, no. Evan Stevens, all right.
Central's 5-5.
Yeah, but they see who they lost to? Bunch of 6A teams and Cal by a touchdown.
All right. And
didn't they win a championship a couple years ago, going like 5-5 in the regular season? They won 5 straight, I think, in the playoffs. I feel like they did that.
Wouldn't be shocked at all.
I think they lost in the championship, but yeah, they made it there with they got to the playoffs at 5-5.
Yeah.
All right, I'll take the Boyle defense.
Boyle County Rebel defense. Good pick, Rick. Since you've got Boyle, give me Mercer. I mean, there are two defenses. Yeah, there are two defenses that got to go. You're, Mr. Packett, be angry at Rick because I wasn't even thinking defense, but Rick sparked that in my mind. Thank you for that, Rick. Mr. Packett, you're up.
Who's kicking for Boyle County now? Andrew Carr?
Andrew Carr.
Mm-hmm.
Yep, I'm taking him.
How many points do you think he got last night, Mr. Packett? Give us a guess.
12.
12 points. Mr. Packett says, Matt, back to Backett.
Malachi Simmons?
I already took Malachi Simmons. Good choice.
Okay.
You want Malachi Davis?
You give the other Malachi.
No, I don't want that. And Cameron Peak's off the board as well, right?
No, Cameron Peak is on the board, but I wish you wouldn't have said anything about him.
Then give me Cameron Peak.
All right, Cameron Peak. I don't want you to have Cameron Peak. I want Cameron Peak, but he'll go on your team. Who else you want?
And give me... I'm going to go with Hayden Elliman.
Yeah, good choice. Hayden Elliman. Take that, Rick. You're playing him. Mr. Packett, you're back up. Need some points. Who you got?
Geo Brown.
Geo Brown. Take that, Rick.
I'm going heavy on the Rebels here.
Got to go heavy on the Rebels. Geo Brown is off the board. It goes back to me. Who's Lincoln play?
Lincoln plays Perry County Central.
Sawyer Horton. Sawyer Horton before Andrew Price, but you got to take into account who they're playing. Give me Sawyer. He's on my team. Rick, back to Backett.
Bubba Trumbo.
Okay. First Danville player off the board. Of course, the Admirals are at Beechwood tonight. That's where I am right now as you are listening to this. I'm in Beechwood. Bubba Trumbo.
I'm going to take, just for fun, Braden Boffman.
Braden Boffman goes back to me. I need a wide receiver, two of them, a flex and a kicker. How about some Zach Daly action in my kicker spot? Zach Daly, who hit last week a 37-yarder, and Coach Crutchfield said he feels comfortable around that 40-yard range for Zach. It's a great kicker. Zach Daly's off the board. Mr. P, who you got? You going back to the Bob Floyd well?
Give me Bob Floyd.
Give him Bob Floyd, also known as Bryce Floyd, but I believe his name is Bob. That's what they call him. Bob Floyd is off the board. Matt, what happened?
Give me... I'm going to go Gage Feltner.
Gage Feltner, okay.
And I'm going to go... this is a risky pick, but I'm going to go with Maddox Hager.
Maddox Hager's off the board. Mr. P, who just fell out of your chair, is that what you said? Who you got? One pick.
I'll take Lincoln defense.
Lincoln County against Perry County Central. That's the pick for Mr. P. And he's sticking to it. It goes to me. I need two wide receivers and a flex. You took Bob Floyd. So I'm going to go with Seth Horton. How about some Horton brother action? Sawyer to Seth, give it to me.
Horton was still available.
Yeah, Seth Horton is still available, but he's not anymore, Matt, because I just took him because I made a good pick. And now it goes to Rick, back to back.
I'll take Liam Potts.
Liam Potts. Okay. He's the Mercer County Titan kicker.
And Austin Bodner.
Austin Bodner, that's who I was going to take if you didn't take him, but you took him, so I can't take him. What does that mean? That means I got to take somebody else. Give me Trendon Sellers, Danville Admiral wide receiver. He's just a freshman. He's going to be good. He already is pretty good, but he's going to keep on getting better. Trendon Sellers, he's off the board. Mr. Packett gets a pick. Need a running back and a flex.
I guess I'll take Caleb Brown. Has anybody picked him?
Nope. Caleb Brown will go in your running back number 2 spot. He's a Casey County Titan. Down.
Casey County Titans, boys.
Garrett County defense.
Garrett County defense. You got it.
And give me Arnolfo Meja Mendez kicker.
Arnolfo Meja Mendez, Casey County kicker. Mr. P, give us a flex and you're done.
Anybody pick Jagger Woods yet?
Jagger Wood is still on the board, Mr. Packett.
I'll take him.
Jagger Wood. I need a flex. Elon Lane in Lincoln County. We'll go in my flex. Well, I've got their quarterback, their wide receiver, and one of the running backs in my flex. So if they don't do good tonight, my team may not do very good. Radio Rick, you're up. Quarterback and you're done.
All right, Wink, I will take for 400 and daily double, Justin Parsons.
Justin Parsons is the Garrett County quarterback, and thus ends the final week of the fantasy draft. Here's how it looks. Championship week. A champion will be crowned. We'll start off with a non-champion matchup. That's Rick and Matt. Rick's got Justin Parsons, Davey Quisenberry, Evan Stevens, Bubba Trumbo, Austin Bodner, Braden Boffman, Liam Potts is kicker, Boyle County's defense. Got some good names there, but some tough matchups. You got a couple of Danville players in there.
Well, I'm hoping that they will put their second, third string defenses in.
The touchdowns all count the same in fantasy. And Matt's got Sage Dawson at quarterback, Denham Griffith, Cameron Peake at running backs, Hayden Elliman, Gage Feltner wide receivers, Maddox Hager flex, Arnolfo Meja Mendez kicker, Garrett County defense is his defense. The championship matchup, Mr. Packett versus myself. Matt, say good luck, Rick.
Oh, well, good luck, Matt.
The championship matchup, Mr. Packett versus myself. Two longtime friends, now turned championship rivals. Here we go. Mr. Packett has Thaddeus Mays, Bob Floyd, and Caleb Brown, Maury Brown and Geo Brown, Jagger Wood, Andrew Carr in Lincoln County. He goes up against me, Sawyer Horton at quarterback, Avery Bodner, Malachi Simmons at running backs, Seth Horton, Trendon Sellers at wide receivers, Elon Lane, my flex, Zach Daly, my kicker, Mercer County defense is my defense. Mr. Packett, how do you feel about that? Do you think you got me by more than 45?
No, I don't.
You don't think so? You think next week when we announce the champion, it's going to be me giving out the speech?
I do, yeah.
All right,
I have a lot of Brown on my team, though. So.
Yeah, you got Maury Brown, Caleb Brown, and Geo Brown. That's right.
And Charlie Brown.
So, Mr. Packett, look, you got to at least come prepared next week to potentially give a speech if you get me by 45, okay?
Oh, you're going to hear it if I get you by 45 points. You are going to hear it. That's sure.
There you go. So be prepared for that. Fellas, appreciate you being on. Thanks for hanging in there, and we'll talk to you next week, okay?
See you. Okay.
Bye. More Zaxby's High School Football Preview Show is coming up on the Hometown Radio Network.
Hi folks, Mike Gay here, HR Manager with Essity. At Essity, we want to wish all of our local high schools good luck during this season. We're proud to sponsor Mercer County, Bergen, Boyle County, Danville, and Garrett County. All of these schools will produce our future employees, and we're rooting for you all this season. So go Ads, go Rebels, go Titans, go Bulldogs, and go Golden Lions. So thanks again from Essity in Harrodsburg and Danville for representing our communities in a great way.
Hi, my name is Sam Tiller. I'm an agent here at the Boyle County, Kentucky Farm Bureau. Growing up here in Boyle County helps me understand your needs, and it makes me passionate about serving our community through exceptional customer service. To learn more about the advantages of becoming a Kentucky Farm Bureau member, stop by the office on the Danville Bypass or give me a call at 859-236-4081. At 859-236-4081. Ask for Sam. I'm big on commitment.
The Parthenon Greek American Eats.
Hi, this is Jimmy letting you know about some of our seafood options, including grilled salmon, grilled tilapia, grilled shrimp, or you can do a combo with grilled tilapia and shrimp, fried jumbo shrimp, hand-battered cod, our delicious hand-battered cod sandwich with fresh French fries. As always, we only use fresh ingredients made to order. That's at the Parthenon Greek American Eats in Danville in the Greenleaf Shopping Center.
Dine in or take out fresh from our family.
Great! See, we're practically sitting on the field. If you could sit here.
Your food and drinks will be right over.
Oh, yes! For the same price as way up here. Great seats. Right up here with a blimp. Why wouldn't you? It's the same with auto insurance. With discounts up to 40%, it's possible to get the personal service of a State Farm agent for the same or less than those other guys.
See your State Farm agent in Harrodsburg, David Hopewell, and Randy.
This is the talk of the town, AM 1230, and now on FM 103.9, WHIR Danville.